Part 1, Introduction, The Danger of Stupidity. Have you ever wondered why some people stubbornly cling to beliefs that are clearly false, even when overwhelming evidence contradicts them? Why do certain political decisions, even those that harm society as a whole, still gain widespread support? And why do people refuse to accept the truth, even when it's staring them in the face? This isn't just an occasional occurrence. It's a pattern that repeats throughout history. From the rise of totalitarian regimes to the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories, we are witnessing something more dangerous than evil itself: organized stupidity. But how does society fall into this state? And more importantly, is there a way to fight back against it? These are the very questions that Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian and resistance fighter against Nazi Germany, wrestled with. While imprisoned by the fascist regime, he developed a theory explaining why people so easily accept irrational beliefs and how power can manipulate them. In this video, we will dive deep into Bonhoeffer's theory. What exactly is stupidity? Why is it so dangerous? And most importantly, what can we do to resist it? Brace yourself. What you're about to hear might change the way you see the world forever. Part 2, Bonhoeffer's definition of stupidity. When we think of stupidity, we often assume it's simply a lack of intelligence or knowledge. However, Dietrich Bonhoeffer had a completely different perspective. He argued that stupidity is not just ignorance. It is a dangerous mental and social condition that prevents people from using reason, even when the truth is obvious. But what exactly does this mean? One, stupidity is not about intelligence. Bonhoeffer emphasized that a stupid person is not necessarily unintelligent. In fact, many highly educated individuals can still be deeply stupid in their actions and beliefs. Intelligence and knowledge alone do not protect someone from stupidity. 2, stupidity is a social phenomenon. Bonhoeffer observed that stupidity is not an individual problem, but a societal issue. It thrives under certain conditions, particularly when people are influenced by power, peer pressure, or propaganda. When individuals stop thinking for themselves and blindly follow authority, stupidity grows stronger. 3, stupidity is more dangerous than evil. This is perhaps Bonhoeffer's most shocking claim. Stupidity is more dangerous than evil. Why? Because evil can be confronted and resisted, but stupidity cannot be reasoned with. A stupid person will defend their false beliefs with unwavering conviction, refusing to listen to facts or logic. 4, stupidity fuels herd mentality. One clear example of this is herd mentality. When a group collectively believes in an absurd idea, they reinforce each other's convictions and reject anyone who challenges them. This is how totalitarian regimes, extremist movements, and conspiracy theories manipulate the masses. But how does stupidity spread so easily? To understand this, we need to explore how it is cultivated and reinforced in society. Part 3, stupidity is a social phenomenon, not just an individual issue. We often think of stupidity as a personal failing, someone who lacks intelligence, refuses to learn, or simply does not know better. But Bonhoeffer argues that stupidity is not an individual flaw, but a social condition that is shaped, nurtured, and reinforced within certain environments. 1, the connection between stupidity and power. Bonhoeffer observed that stupidity flourishes when combined with power. When people are immersed in a system of power, whether political, religious, or cultural, they often lose their ability to think critically. Instead, they stop questioning authority, accept whatever they are told as absolute truth, defend their beliefs aggressively, even when they are clearly false. Think about totalitarian regimes in history. Dictators do not need everyone to be evil to maintain power. They only need enough people to be stupid. Once the majority stops thinking critically, power can manipulate society in any direction it chooses. 2, psychological manipulation. Why people are easily controlled. Stupidity is not just about lack of knowledge, it is a psychological trap. One of the biggest factors is group pressure, also known as groupthink. When people see an entire group believing in something, they feel pressure to conform, even if they secretly have doubts. The Asch conformity experiment, 1951, proved this. In the study, participants were asked to compare line lengths. When the group intentionally gave the wrong answer, 75% of participants also agreed with the wrong answer, despite knowing it was incorrect. This proves that many people will believe and follow something simply because the majority does. 3, the danger of organized stupidity. Stupidity is dangerous not just because it exists in individuals, but because it can be organized into powerful systems that control society. Examples of organized stupidity include conspiracy theories spreading on social media, where misinformation is reinforced instead of challenged. Propaganda-based education systems that teach one-sided perspectives with no room for debate. Political extremism, where people are emotionally manipulated into accepting illogical ideologies. 4. Personal reflection. We are living in an age of organized stupidity. I strongly believe that Bonhoeffer was right. Stupidity is more dangerous than evil. A malicious person can be stopped, but a society consumed by stupidity will destroy itself from within. Today, with social media, misinformation, and political propaganda shaping public opinion, stupidity is more powerful than ever. If we fail to recognize and challenge it, we risk becoming part of the problem without even realizing it. But how exactly does stupidity spread so effectively? Let's examine that in the next section. Part 4. How does stupidity spread? Stupidity is not just an individual trait. It has the power to spread and multiply over time. Bonhoeffer realized that stupidity is not a fixed state, but rather a phenomenon that can be nurtured and expanded within society. But how exactly does stupidity spread like a virus? And why do people fall into this trap so easily? 1. Propaganda and information manipulation. One of the most effective ways stupidity spreads is through organized propaganda. When those in power control the flow of information and repeat false narratives, these ideas gradually become accepted as absolute truth. Examples of propaganda-driven stupidity. Nazi Germany's propaganda convinced people that Jews were responsible for societal problems, a complete falsehood that was reinforced through speeches, media, and education. Modern-day fake news spreads rapidly on social media, where millions believe misinformation without fact-checking. The more a false idea is repeated, the more people accept it as reality. 2. Fear paralyzes critical thinking. When people are afraid, they seek simple explanations for the chaos around them. Those in power exploit this fear to push false beliefs that benefit their control. Examples of fear-driven stupidity. During wars or crises, leaders manipulate public fear to justify extreme measures without question. In radical groups, fear of social isolation forces individuals to accept false narratives without resistance. When people are afraid, overwhelmed, or desperate, they stop questioning and start obeying, even when it's irrational. 3. Herd mentality and social pressure. The Asch conformity experiment, 1951, proved that people follow the crowd even when they know the crowd is wrong. This is one of the key reasons stupidity spreads uncontested. If a group believes in something absurd, outsiders feel pressured to agree. Those who challenge false beliefs are often ridiculed or ostracized, which forces them to conform instead of thinking independently. Once stupidity becomes the norm in a group, it becomes nearly impossible to challenge. 4. Personal reflection. No one is immune to stupidity. Many people believe that they are too smart to be manipulated. But the truth is, no one is completely immune to stupidity. When information is controlled, when social pressure is overwhelming, when fear suppresses independent thought, anyone can become part of the problem. Stupidity does not emerge naturally. It is cultivated, spread, and reinforced. But is there a way to fight back against it? Let's find out in the next section. Part 5. How can we fight stupidity? If stupidity can spread like a virus, is there a way to stop it? Bonhoeffer believed that stupidity cannot be defeated simply by providing more information or education. This is because stupidity is not just a lack of knowledge, it is a mental and social condition. So how do we fight it? There are 3 crucial strategies: developing critical thinking, taking personal responsibility, having the courage to face the truth. 1. Develop critical thinking. Don't believe everything. Ask questions. One of the most powerful weapons against stupidity is critical thinking, not blindly accepting information, but questioning, verifying, and analyzing everything. Steps to develop critical thinking. Check the source of information. Don't believe something just because it aligns with your views. Investigate who is saying it, where it comes from, and whether there is real evidence to support it. Recognize manipulation tactics. If a piece of information immediately triggers fear or anger, it is likely designed to manipulate you emotionally. Expose yourself to different perspectives. Don't just seek opinions that confirm your beliefs. Look at opposing viewpoints and evaluate them based on logic and facts. Personal reflection. I believe one of the greatest threats to critical thinking today is social media algorithms, which only show users content that reinforces their existing beliefs. This traps people in echo chambers, making them more resistant to new information. 2. Take personal responsibility. Don't let others think for you. Bonhoeffer emphasized that stupidity is not just an intellectual issue, but a moral one. If we give up our right to think for ourselves, we allow others to control our thoughts and decisions. Ways to take responsibility. Don't let the crowd decide for you. Just because many people believe something doesn't mean it's true. Always do your own research. Be accountable for what you believe and share. If you spread false information without verifying it, you are part of the problem. Don't be afraid to admit when you were wrong. Everyone has believed something incorrect at some point. The key is, do you have the courage to change your mind when confronted with the truth? I believe many people choose stupidity because thinking is hard. Critical thinking requires effort, and sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. But if we blindly accept simple answers, we give up our right to think freely. 3. Have the courage to face the truth. Speak up against stupidity. One reason stupidity continues to exist is that people are afraid to speak up. Bonhoeffer understood that going against the majority is difficult, but staying silent only strengthens stupidity. How to be courageous in the face of stupidity. Speak out when you see misinformation. If you know something is false, don't stay silent. Refuse to support stupidity. Sometimes stupidity doesn't need many believers, it just needs enough people to be indifferent. Accept that the truth is often uncomfortable, but it's better to face reality than live in a comforting illusion. I believe that society can only progress when enough people dare to challenge falsehoods. We cannot expect a smarter world if everyone remains silent in the face of stupidity. Part 6. Conclusion. Who will you choose to be? Throughout this video, we have explored Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity, a phenomenon that is not just an individual issue, but a deeply ingrained social problem. We have seen that stupidity is more dangerous than evil because it paralyzes thinking, spreads through propaganda, and is reinforced by group pressure. But the most important question is not, does stupidity exist? Instead, the real question is, how will you respond to it? In today's society, you have two choices. Follow the crowd, accept everything without questioning, and live in the comfort of simple, convenient beliefs. Think for yourself, question everything, and search for the truth, even if it makes you unpopular or isolated. I believe each of us is responsible for what we choose to believe and share. We cannot expect a better world if we are unwilling to challenge falsehoods. Now the choice is yours. Will you be someone who blindly believes everything they hear, or will you be someone who dares to think, question, and challenge the status quo? Remember, the truth is not always comfortable, but it is always worth seeking.